Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having an unstoppable start to your day. And I want to continue this week with going through what we've been working on. In the last couple of weeks, we've talked about a couple of things. We've started at the values, and the values are important because we need to know what your values are so that we can make sure we incorporate them in your life. Then we had to look at where you're at right now. Where are you at right now so we can start from that point. We also did the What's Amazing About You activity, which was great because that builds our confidence. We looked at thinking big, right? That's something that we need to consider, all the things that we want to do in our life, think big. We also looked at performance partners, and that was a way to accelerate our success, to collapse time, to collaborate. And now I want to talk to you about accountability. And this was something that came to me in a fashion that I wouldn't wish upon others, but sometimes that's the learning we need to go through to understand the lessons. And what happened for me is I found myself in a really good position in life. I had a great position with a company, and I'd been there for a long time. I also had a business that I had started. The kids were good, family was good, everything was great. And then things started taking a turn. And it's not often that everything gets flipped on its head. And sometimes when you look back on it, it almost seems like it just happened in a snap. But this actually, over time, I started having all these things go wrong. And this is what ingrained in me accountability. And it started with losing the job that I had for 10 years. Then we were in a business that started going bad, and communication issues on my part, and a lot of different things that happened with the business. And then all of a sudden that was going really bad. Then all of a sudden my wife was in hospital. And then I found that I'm possibly going to lose everything now, the house, the business, the career. I was not in a good spot. I didn't like who I was becoming. I took a look in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw, and I knew that it had started in the mind, but I was focusing on the outside. I also knew that the decisions and the things that I was doing was my attitude, and my bad attitude, just like a bad flat tire. If you don't change that flat tire, you're not going to get very far. Well, it's just like the bad attitude. And then I realized that I had to focus on what I want in the future. I had to focus on, instead of focusing on what I want now, discipline is focusing on between what you want now and what you want in the future. And what I wanted at that point was a way out. I was struggling. I was trying to work my best with the kids and the business and figuring out the house and what to do next. And I had to get some discipline. I also realized that it was going to take time. Like, I couldn't just do this one act of something and it's going to then all be, resolved. And then I realized too that I had to know inside that I had enough. Something that I had thought through was, we always have the answer. We always do have the answer. It's just a matter of being reminded. And maybe just being reassured that you are enough. And so amongst all this, everything that I could imagine possibly going wrong, I then had a friend that unfortunately got cancer, younger than me. And this was something that obviously rocked his family more than it did mine, but I'll never forget the conversations that we had. I'll never forget the time that I met with him in the hospital over and over. I'll never forget the mindset and the attitude that he had. And in a matter of not very long, he was gone. And then I realized I had to fight for my time. I had something Jeremy didn't have. I had time. And I still have time, and I fight for my time. And how do I do it? I have to realize that beauty is not in the mirror. Beauty starts in the mind. I had to realize that just like a flat tire, a bad attitude, you're not going to get very far unless you change it. I had to realize that discipline is something that takes time. You need to form a great routine. You need to focus on what you want in the future, not what you want right now. Also had to realize that I was enough and that I do have the answers and that I can make this work. And there is a lot more to this story, but as far as accountability goes, I learnt this lesson the hard way. And I have 3 forms for your activity for accountability. And it talks about how greatness is built over time. It talks about how discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It talks about the bad attitude, just like a flat tire, you're not going to get very far until you change it. It talks about that beauty starts in the mind, not in the mirror, and that you are enough. And one of the challenges I put forth here in the accountability is try this one thing. Decide that you'll get up 11 minutes earlier tomorrow. Whatever time you get up, decide you get up 11 minutes earlier. Then get up and drink some water, wash your face, brush your teeth, or jump in a cold shower for 1 minute. There's some benefits to cold showers. I've been doing this since July. Every day, cold showers. It's been amazing. Then go for a walk for 5 to 10 minutes. So we're talking about just 4 things. Then we're going to write down what you just did and what your intent is for the day. So my intent for the day is to work on this particular project and get that completed, but also have a positive attitude of those I work around, or change the mindset that I have in regards to the meetings that I'm going into today. Or what is your intent for the day? So that's the thing. Decide that you get up 11 minutes earlier, take 1 minute to wash your face, brush your teeth, take another minute or 2 like to jump in a cold shower, right? That'll wake you right up. Go for a walk just for 5 to 10 minutes. If you're a runner, go for a run, that's fine. Then come back, write down what you did and what your intent is for the day. This is a great way to start the day, to start being accountable, to start incorporating things in your life that's going to help you and start off your day right. Once you get this down a little bit, you want to do better the next day. Maybe it's a little bit longer in that cold shower. Maybe it's a little bit longer walk. Maybe it's a exercise routine or a little bit of meditation, or maybe it's journaling or whatever it might be. Once you have this down, once you do this for a little bit of time and you start building on it, then you can work to the next thing, which is going to be incorporating your superstar morning. But I've got some things to consider here. So Little talks about some things to consider. Well, when you start your mornings off, maybe you're not a morning person. That's okay. We're not talking about hours earlier than usual. Maybe you worked a graveyard shift, and that's okay. We can incorporate this in a different part of your day, not in the morning. But one thing is for sure, you deserve the best life possible, right? Talks about here that incorporating these into your life is essential for you to fulfill your goals and your achievements that you want to accomplish, and that you can have an incredible life by incorporating your values into your day, into your routine. So the activity talks about how we look back at the values, and then how do we incorporate 5-10 minutes, maybe more, maybe less, of the top 4 or 5 values that you can write in here, and then how do we incorporate that in our morning? So for instance, I have an example, and one that shows that 10 minutes of gratitude, 30 minutes of fitness, some 10 minutes of personal development, 10 minutes of faith, 5 minutes of meditation, right? And it works out to be about 65 minutes. Now, you could do more or you could do less. You could choose different values. Once you do that, you realize, okay, if I was getting up at 7 and that takes an hour, then I need to get up at 6, right? And that's how you incorporate it. Now, again, this is after you have completed doing just that 10 or 11 minutes earlier for a little while. Then you've built on that, realizing that that's something you want to build off. And then you start working towards incorporating your most valuable or your most held values into your miracle morning. So then things to consider. You need a time, a place, and a purpose. Now, you have the place, which is going to be, well, you have to decide where the place is going to be. For the place in your house that's going to not be full of disruptions. And if it's in the morning, it could be something that, you choose a particular room. But then the time, like we talked about, if it's going to take an hour, then you get up an hour earlier than you had before. And then the purpose, and the purpose is getting those values in your day. So there's what it would look like, right? You would have your values, you would have your time that you can commit to it, when you usually got up, what you would then get up to if you're going to get up, an hour earlier. Now, it might be just 10 minutes earlier, it might be just 15 minutes earlier, depending on how much time you have to commit to these values. Work on this accountability. Accountability is going to increase the chances that you're going to accomplish the goals that you want in your life. It's going to incorporate discipline, and which is then going to free you to be able to have a better life. I know this because I live through it. It's something I do every day. Sometimes I take it a little bit to the extreme, but I really want to make the most of my time. And I hope that for you. I hope that you start being accountable. Look to this activity. I'll put it in the notes, the comments section, so you can see the activity. And I hope you have an incredible day. We'll see you.